Let's dive right into what I think is an absolutely wild modern paradox. We are living in the richest era in human history. Seriously, think about it for a second. We've got instant entertainment in our pockets, hot food delivered to our doors in minutes, and you can invest in global markets while sitting on your couch. But despite all of this, every single day, millions of hardworking people wake up, grind at their jobs, and somehow still end up totally broke. It's this vicious cycle of stress, exploding debt, and zero savings. So in this explainer, we are going to break down exactly why this keeps happening. And we're going to do it in a way that absolutely anyone can understand. Because honestly, you don't need a fancy economics degree to figure this out. You really just need to understand human behavior.
So you really got to ask yourself this fundamental question. Why do smart, highly capable people continuously make terrible financial decisions? I mean, it's not because we're lazy, right? And it's definitely not a lack of intelligence. It's because we are operating in a system that feels like it was literally designed in a lab to drain your wallet. People keep buying things they absolutely do not need, and amateur traders keep completely blowing out their accounts. We're going to look at the real, underlying reasons why modern life has essentially become a giant vacuum for your cash.
Okay, here is the absolute most crucial point. Money isn't just math. Money is psychology. The secret relationship between your money, your habits, and the systems shaping our world, it's entirely psychological. Billion-dollar companies in modern economies understand your behavioral psychology way better than you do. They know exactly which levers to pull. So, if we want to stop losing this game, we first have to understand the rules of the psychological battlefield we're standing on.
Let's start with part 1, ancient brains, modern algorithms.
Think about how our brains are actually wired. For almost all of human history, we evolved in these small tribes, where the goal wasn't building a diversified stock portfolio, right? The goal was simply not dying. If early humans found a calorie-dense food, they ate it immediately because, well, tomorrow wasn't guaranteed. So our brains evolved to heavily prioritize immediate rewards. But today, that exact same ancient survival wiring is actively fighting against highly sophisticated modern threats. I'm talking algorithms, one-click purchases, hyper-targeted ads. We aren't out there hunting mammoths anymore. We are fighting supercomputers designed to make us impulse spend. The whole modern economy runs on friction-free spending, not patience, and our ancient brains are just severely outmatched.
And that brings us to the chemical that's driving this entire mismatch, dopamine. This is your brain's primary reward chemical, and man, modern tech has become incredibly efficient at triggering it. Every single time you scroll, see a flash sale, or watch a crypto market suddenly pump, you get a dopamine spike. It feels amazing in the moment. Think about that sudden rush you get the exact second you click Add to Cart. That thrill actually hits its peak long before the cardboard box ever arrives at your front door. When we make those random late-night online purchases, we're proving that we aren't even really buying products anymore. We're buying feelings. We're buying a momentary sense of status, or hope, or just a quick escape from reality. And trust me, the companies selling to you know exactly how to trigger that loop.
Moving right along to part 2, the social comparison machine.
Think about how many ads you see in a single day. They are literally everywhere, on your phone, on social media, buried in your streaming platforms. But here's the catch. Most of us don't even really notice them anymore. Why? Because modern advertising completely stopped feeling like advertising. It's shape-shifted. Now it just feels like entertainment. It feels like lifestyle content or daily inspiration. You watch some influencer driving a luxury car, and suddenly your own perfectly fine life feels kind of small. You want more, not because you actually need it, but because you're soaking in hidden persuasion all day long. It shifts your emotional state without you even realizing you're being sold to. You know, humans naturally have this built-in instinct to compare ourselves to others. It was originally how we measured our standing in the tribe. But social media took that natural, normal instinct and just multiplied it by 1,000,000. Now you are constantly comparing your income, your clothes, your vacations, your car to what you see online. And this creates immense, crushing financial pressure. You end up burning cash just to emotionally catch up with strangers on the internet. But here is the truly tragic irony. Most of those flawless online lifestyles, they're carefully edited illusions. We're talking rented cars, a luxury hotel booked for just 1 hour to take photos, and massive credit card debt hidden right behind a confident smile. Yet our brains react emotionally to the image way before our logic can step in and say, wait a minute.
Which brings us to part 3, invisible money and debt.
So, there was a time when buying something actually physically hurt. You had to open a wallet and hand over physical cash. Counting out those bills created real, tangible, emotional resistance. But today, with digital payments, Tapping a phone, swiping a piece of plastic, double-clicking a side button, money has become psychologically invisible. Studies in behavioral economics show this over and over again. When money feels abstract, the emotional pain of spending it practically vanishes. Credit cards make money you haven't even earned yet feel like it's sitting in your pocket today. It completely bypasses the emotional brakes that used to stop us from blowing our budgets. For an emotional spender, this invisible money is an absolute trap.
And because the money is invisible, modern debt rarely shows up as one massive dramatic explosion. Instead, it just creeps in quietly. We call this financial gravity. It's the 4 different streaming services, the constant food delivery apps, the buy now, pay later checkouts, and those endless monthly app subscriptions. Individually, $5 here, $10 there, it seems totally harmless. But together, they stack up. The interest starts growing, the minimum payments begin, and suddenly you look around and realize you're working today just to pay for impulsive emotional decisions you made months or even years ago. You get caught in this inescapable gravitational pull of invisible debt.
All right, part 4, risk, scams, and emotion.
Let's talk about the markets. The internet absolutely loves and rewards excitement, right? It definitely doesn't reward realism. Social media algorithms aggressively push explosive viral wins. You see someone turning $50 into a massive fortune and buying a supercar overnight. It makes you daydream about escape and total freedom, but it conveniently hides the millions of silent, devastating failures. You get emotional, you stop seeing statistical probabilities, and you just start seeing dreams. But the reality of real, professional trading, it's about strict risk management, endless patience, consistency, and math. Frankly, it's boring, and boring does not go viral. So beginners jump into these highly complex markets emotionally unprepared, expecting fast money, and the market just punishes them instantly.
And the specific reason the market punishes them so badly is because of this concept, loss aversion. As humans, we naturally hate losing. Actually, scratch that. It's not just a dislike. Psychologically, losing feels significantly stronger and way more painful than winning feels good. So when amateur traders are in the market, driven by ego and emotion, they make the absolute worst choices. Thanks to loss aversion, they'll hold on to a losing trade way too long, just hoping and praying it bounces back. But at the exact same time, they'll sell their winning trades entirely too early out of pure fear that they might lose their tiny profit. It forces you into the exact opposite of good investing behavior, and is driven purely by our emotional biology.
Because we are so hardwired to want to shortcut to wealth, especially when we feel financially stuck, we become the ultimate prime targets for scammers. And scammers understand human psychology perfectly. Whether we are talking about a classic Ponzi scheme, a fake online business guru, or the latest crypto fraud, the technology might change, but the underlying human psychology never does. Scammers aren't really selling products. They are weaponizing your emotions. They sell hope, they create fake urgency, they promise exclusivity, and they heavily trigger your fear of missing out. They leverage your economic desperation to sell you this incredibly powerful illusion that literally everyone else is getting rich, except for you. And when people feel desperate, logic just completely fades away.
Okay, part 5, the invisible enemy, inflation.
Beyond all of our own spending habits, there is this massive, invisible force constantly draining our wallets in the background, and that's inflation. Most people think losing money just means physically spending it, but money also loses its value silently, just sitting there, as prices increase over time. When the cost of rent and groceries and healthcare rises faster than your actual paycheck, you literally feel poorer, even if you technically make the exact same amount of money on paper. This creates severe underlying economic stress. And when humans feel deep uncertainty and stress about their future, what do? We become even more emotional with our money. Some people panic, some just overspend to cope, some start gambling on risky investments, and some just freeze completely. Inflation is this invisible enemy that directly triggers all of our worst financial habits.
So, if you take nothing else away from this explainer, remember this: the financial stress you feel is a systemic psychological trap. If you are struggling right now, please know it is not a personal moral failure on your part. You are simply trying to navigate a highly advanced modern machine that is actively preying on ancient human biology. The stealthy advertising, the invisible tap-to-pay digital money, the viral trading algorithms, and the silent, heavy drain of inflation, they are all working together in concert against your natural biological wiring. But here is the good news. Here's the empowering part. Simply recognizing that this system exists is the absolute first step to changing your reality.
The modern machine is literally built on human weakness. It is designed from the ground up to drain your wallet by leveraging your own psychology against you. But now that you can clearly see these invisible traps that are built into everyday life,
the entire dynamic changes. You finally have the power to step back, recognize those sneaky dopamine triggers, ignore the fake social comparisons, and actually break the cycle. You do not have to play this game blindly anymore. So I'll leave you with this. Are you ready to take back control of your financial future? Keep this psychology in mind and next time you go to tap that card. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope it changes how you look at every single dollar you spend from here on out.